I mean, especially the MVP, it kind of moves like a pendulum. I think about something
Yeah.
like Carson Wentz year where Carson was the guy, and then like
Yep.
right at the end he gets hurt, and then now he doesn't even get to be MVP. I just think it moves a lot in that sense too.
It does. And I mean, Carson's an interesting guy. I mean, this is like totally off topic, but like, I mean, he was so good that year. And of course, the Eagles end up like having a great team that wins the Super Bowl that year. But like, I think that like the psychological component to recovering from injury is something that just generally in sports, we don't pay enough attention to. And I think that like some guys don't recover. We kind of make the assumption that you recover and you pick up from where you were, and that's a faulty assumption. And some guys, even if they physically recover, I don't know if they ever mentally recover quite like they were before it.
Yeah, can we talk a little bit about the psyche of a quarterback? Because I think of someone like a Daniel Jones who's just having a phenomenal year this year,
Yeah.
who for a little bit we might even cast it off as maybe a journeyman or he's never going to become the guy that, New York thought he was going to be back in the day. Can you talk about what kind of goes into a quarterback and how they have these resurgences? I know sometimes it's, the offensive philosophy, but just talk a little bit, from your book and kind of those quarterbacks that have made those evolutions.
Yeah, it's one of the topics I didn't really get into. And there's a couple like things that ended up on the cutting room floor that have to do with quarterbacks that, it was like they almost made it. But like, that element is interesting. So like there's this entire economy for quarterbacks in the NFL who are drafted into really bad situations with that are systemically bad, right? I mean, like it doesn't matter who's the coach, who's the quarterback, these teams just aren't good. And then sure enough, they're unable to transcend all that failure. And so they get labeled as busts like really quick. And then I think that like if they can just hang on, if they can just keep their confidence, and if they can have some agency over where they go next in their career and who they learn from, there's room for them in the NFL, and I think that that's interesting. I mean, Baker Mayfield to an extent, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. I think that Mac Jones is like kind of one of those guys, and Daniel Jones is like kind of one of them. I mean, look, he got a lot of playing time in New York. I mean, I think he got 94 starts if I remember right, and so clearly it wasn't just his fault that things didn't work out there. But like, if you can just find a team that will believe in you, there's like an entire second act that these quarterbacks can have, and he's definitely one of those guys. And it's like I've talked to them about like what happens in those, it's like if you can just have a reset, maybe you're not playing right away and you have a chance to like sit back and watch, you're gonna get another chance. And inevitably when you get your other chance, it's like the game has kind of slowed down for you in a way that it didn't before. It's really, really kind of a fascinating thing.
No, that's a good point. And I even think about, I think Drew Brees had said it a couple weeks ago when he was just talking about the idea of a lot of quarterbacks, you mentioned like 80 or 90 starts. Like a lot of quarterbacks just need a lot more starts. And you're talking about, I think about a player, I'm trying to think of a good player, but recently there's been players that, or I should got Trey Lance might be a good example, who really only played maybe 20 games in college and then got picked as a starting quarterback. Can't really find his footing, but even if you just see how he's playing underneath Jim Harbaugh in preseason this year, he looks like he's kind of coming along and could be another one of those guys. I think sometimes a lot of quarterbacks just need that, whatever you like, all the stuff you're talking about, the system, the training. If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you head over to www.bookupapp.com to download our app so you can connect with your favorite bookish content creators, start conversations, and start your own book club.